Hello friends, and welcome to Escaping the Mouse with your host, me, Breck Roll. Alright, it's the day after Christmas, and if you watched a live stream on Christmas Day, you realized I got a couple of cool Christmas presents from my sister and from my mom. On last video you saw me put up the kinetic sculpture that my mother got me, and today we're going to look at the other part. My sister got me some additional track for my train. As you know, before Christmas I set up a little Christmas village on my table that I modified and included a train and a bunch of little village elements. And right now the train itself has been kind of boring because it just kind of goes around in circles. Well, I got from my sister a whole bunch of new track segments that are basically going to let me expand the train tracks all the way across the table, and we're going to look at that today, and we're going to try and put that together. So just for your memory, this is what the village looked like after the first year. I got the train about a month ago. That was also a gift from my mom. I found these little Christmas trees at Bed Bath & Beyond. They were like a couple dollars each, and so I kind of created that. I got these little village buildings at Walmart for $1.98 a piece, which was kind of amazing. And this has kind of been the limit of the little Christmas village so far. But I built this whole table with the plans of having the train run the entire length of it and even go maybe a little over to this edge here and have it kind of wind around a little bit. And we were going to have a lot of fun with that. But like I said, it only came with this little bit of track. So for Christmas, my sister got this, and this is basically just a whole bunch of track element pieces that you can use to extend the track that you already have. So we're going to open this thing up. We're going to try and reset the train track configuration, and we're going to see what we come of it. So I've unwrapped everything from the box now. There's a lot of stuff in here. There's 20 of these curved pieces, which is going to be needed to extend this a little bit. Probably not going to use a whole bunch of those. A whole bunch of the straight pieces, which are good. A couple of more re-railer pieces, which are like these ones right here that make it easy to get the train back on the track in the event that it comes off the track or derails in some way. So there's a few of those. We got 4 of these switch tracks, which are kind of cool. Now the switch tracks have a little switch right here, allows you to move the switch back and forth. But it also looks like there's an electronic method of doing it, because there's actually a wire under each one of these that I think connects up to this thing, and I can connect this up maybe to the other side of the power controller here, because see, the power goes in here, but there's a part to pull the power off so I can run off to other things. I'm guessing what I can do with that is connect to these and use these to switch the switch tracks. So that's kind of cool. There's a couple of these little short pieces, and I'm not sure exactly what they are, but we'll figure that out. Maybe that's because some of the lengths of something else isn't maybe quite the right length or something, and you need the little pieces to make it up. And then there's a couple of these track sections that are designed to be the end of a track. So if you want to dead end to something, like, you know, pretend that it's pulling into the area behind a warehouse or something like that, and you want to make sure it doesn't come off the end, you have one of these, and this will prevent it from going off the end. There's also a little magnet piece here, and I was just doing a little bit of reading. Apparently that goes under these straight pieces, and it makes it easier to hook the tracks together, or hook the train cars together, because sometimes the train cars can be a little bit of a pain to get linked up properly, because this thing tends to go back and forth a little bit. Oops, I just derailed that one. But this thing tends to go back and forth a little bit, and this apparently straightens it up so that they'll couple up correctly. And so we're going to play around with that a little bit. It also came with a DVD and very basic instructions that kind of show you know, the basic stuff that I've already learned by messing with this train. So at this point I'm going to kind of play around with this and figure out what I want to do in terms of extending the track. Alright, I've modified the track somewhat. I was a little bothered if I put the controller right here, because I would have really liked to have moved the whole thing this way to the edge. So what I did is I just kind of broke up the half circle, did a little straight piece here, and then continued the circle around. That pushes it back a little closer to the back wall, and I correct for that with this little curve here. And I have a couple of turnouts here that go off to these individual tracks. Now ultimately I think I want to get a couple of more straight tracks and bring them all the way over to here, just to run, you know, fill up the space a little bit more. And then of course all the way around over here, all the way, took it all the way to the end and then the back. So yeah, this thing runs the whole length of the table now. I've actually run the train a little bit. The caboose is derailed a couple times at this switch track, so I think maybe I've hopefully gotten that straightened out, but let's take it on a run here and see what happens. One of the concerns I had was that the train might not work that well with this small power supply at the far end of the track, because what tends to happen sometimes is the further you get away from the power source, the less power there is, because you lose a little bit of power in the track as it goes. So I don't know, it doesn't seem to be causing a problem. It seems to be doing just as well on this end as it has before. Let's see if this thing derails right now, because this is where I've had problems in the past. No, it made it that time, so I guess I got it straightened out. But you know, that's kind of cool, right? So we still got the little village here. Like I said, I pulled the thing away here because I figure I'll put some like village elements here for the trip around. Some more village elements here. Let's try flipping the switch track and see if we can send this the other way. Sorry, I was too late. I found the button too late. Now we'll flip it the other way. And I'm gonna have to stay on the controller here because both of these tracks dead end. Let's make sure this is set one way or the other. Okay, so we're gonna have it go on to this little switch track here. So let's see what happens. I got my hand on the power controller here so that I can turn it off so we don't dead end. That's no fun. Okay, followed the switch track. Followed that track, and yeah, all right, there we go. So that worked really well. I'm gonna back it up now out of there. Get it past this switch track and stop. Let's switch this switch track and see if we can make it go down this path. This should do that. Put it back into forward again. Start it up. All right. Yeah, that's working. All right, so let's back it up, get it out of there, get it back on the main track. Switch the switch track again. Back to the main track. I believe I can do that electronically, but I'm gonna have to spend a little bit of time. Oops, put it forward. I'm going to spend a little bit of time wiring that up and figuring out how I'm going to make that all work. Because I think these things right here are the little switchers for the switch track. And so I can run power through those and switch the track back and forth based on what I want to do, which way I want to go. So, like I said, I got to study that a little bit and figure out how I'm going to wire that all up. But I like it. Can run the whole length now. So this little kit came with a DVD, and so I'm going to actually put this DVD in, see if I can learn a little bit more about how they recommend wiring up some of these switchers and get an idea about some of the features on these tracks. So I'll catch up with you after I've done that. Alright, I finished watching this video, and there's a lot of information in here and a lot of detail on how you do things. I thought it was interesting that the video itself was hosted by Michael Gross from, you may remember him from Family Ties. That was the one with Michael J. Fox and the rest of them. And yeah, he was the one hosting this, but there's a lot of information on this, starting from the very basic stuff of how to set up your track to really going into detail and making these really elaborate villages and stuff like that. So I think I'm going to probably refer to this video multiple times as this grows. It's already given me an idea. One of the things that they recommend here, rather than just doing it on a solid surface and a piece of felt like I have, is they recommend actually creating a layer of foam. You can get like insulation foam, like, you know, inch thick piece of foam that you can use to insulate your house, and you can scale that, and you can shave it, cut little holes into it, and that's actually a really good idea. So I may do that, and we'll refer to this video a number of times as we continue on this project. Unfortunately, it didn't really give me a whole bunch of information about wiring up stuff. Now, I think I got a pretty good idea what needs to be done, but I'm gonna have to experiment with a little bit. All right, so I wanted to take some guesses out as to how to power these switch tracks, and I thought, you know, maybe we got the little switchers here that switch the tracks back and forth. The wire goes to it, so all I gotta do is figure out how to get power to it. And I thought I could get it maybe off of the track, but it turns out that both ends of the plug here are male receptacles, not female receptacles, and I guess that makes sense, because you'd have to have one and the other in order to make it connect up, and you don't really want to have people powering the switch tracks off of the power on the track, because the power on the track is going to depend on what the power is here, and if the if the power is turned all the way down on the controller, there's not going to be any power there to do it. So I was reading a little bit, and it looks like I got to get a separate power supply to power these switch tracks. So I'm going to take one of the switch track pieces over to Hobby Town and bring over what I have and see if they can help me figure out what I need. In the past, you know, they've offered to order things for me, and I wanted to kind of do it on my own, but now that we got kind of the hobby going a little bit, maybe I'm going to want to you know, maybe support this local business. I've heard that they're in the process of growing a little bit, and you know, it sounds like a place I may end up going to from time to time. So I'm going to run over to Hobbytown and see what they can do for me. All right, so I'm back from Hobbytown, and I got to admit, it wasn't a very productive trip. Hobbytown is a fun little place, but I think they're a very diverse type of company. They do a whole lot of different things. They do RC cars, and they do models, and they do rockets and puzzles and games and stuff like that. And in a lot of things they can be considered a hobby, but I think they don't, you know, they only scratch certain subjects on a very superficial level. And in terms of the model railroading end of things, about all they do is just sell packages of trains that are, you know, you put them together out of the box and that's it. They don't really have a whole lot of accessories over there, and the truth is, they don't really even have a lot of expertise on the staff about, you know, even the most basic things. I was talking to the guy about, you know, how I was going to be able to power this switch track here, and you know, said I couldn't just power it off the tracks because I didn't think that, you know, when the potentiometer here on this thing is all the way down as it is now, there's not going to be any power on the tracks to power the switch track. So I was thinking I had to get another power supply, but the guy couldn't really answer for me. So it looks like this is one of those things I'm going to have to figure out on my own. I'll probably go to Bachmann Trains themselves and see if I can talk to somebody there that can help me understand a little bit what's going on. But right now, the switch tracks are just going to have to be done manually. I was also hoping to get a couple of extender pieces to extend this way a couple feet, but they didn't even have that. So I know I'll be able to get that online. So we're going to keep playing with this, and we'll go from there. So I went onto the Bachmann's website, and it appears that they're big enough of a company to have a website, but not enough yet that they have some of the more advanced features like online chat and stuff like that. There wasn't really a good way to communicate with the people directly, and it wasn't obvious on the website how I had to do this. So we're going to probably end this video at this point. What I did is I sent an email off to them, and hopefully they'll get somebody that can answer my question and reply to me in a day or so, and we'll see where we go from there. I basically said, you know, do I need an extra power supply? If so, you know, which one do I need, and how do I hook it up? So hopefully that will yield results in the next few days, but I am very, very happy to have this thing running the whole length of the table. Now I just got to get some more village elements to kind of fill everything in, to get everything ready to go. But I think it looks pretty cool, right? You get some more stuff in this area, fill it up. It's going to look really nice. And like I said, I did get some good ideas from that video. Whoops. We just had a little derailment here. I guess at the same time, probably while I was spending too much time talking, I didn't realize that the caboose derailed on that switch track last time when we were going around, and now we just had a major collision here. Thousands and thousands are dead as we have a major train derailment here. So there you go. You caught it on video here, live and direct. So anyway, I think that's all that I have for today. Thank you as always for watching, and I'll see you next time on Escaping the Mouse. Good night.